Hey guys, this is Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing 3 looks, 1 palette using Mothership III Subversive. So of course this is Mothership III Subversive that is by no other than McGrath Labs. And I have gotten some requests to do 3 looks with this palette some time ago on my channel, but I just haven't had a chance to do it. And since I have a little bit more free time, I was like, yep, this is the perfect time to go ahead and do it. Now, I hope everybody is doing well. I just want to say that first before we go ahead and jump into the looks. It is so much going on. I hope everybody is staying safe, protecting themselves, staying at home while we are out here battling COVID-19. As you guys know, I'm still working. I'm an essential employee, but I had the weekend off, so I've gotten some rest, much needed rest, because it's been very hectic at the pharmacy. And I just hope everybody is just finding something to hang on to during this trying time. Personally, I am doing very well. I am okay. But I just wanted to put that out there before we go ahead and jump into the video, because this is just such a scary time and such a weird time. And my gosh, I just never thought we would see anything like this. With that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the palette a little bit. You know, this is not a review, but this Mothership palette did come out as one of the original 3 palettes. And fun fact, this is actually my first Mothership palette, and she looks just like this. So I said, oh my goodness, if I was going to get one, because, you know, I swatched it at Sephora. I kind of went to Sephora to get us some Christmas gifts, and I was like, do you guys have Pat McGrath? And they were like, yeah, and I didn't think they were going to say yes. And then I swatched the palettes, and I was just like, oh, it's really, really pretty. So I got this as a Christmas gift. So I was very happy to receive it. But if you guys have watched some of my other videos, when I told you that this is the first palette I got, but I was thoroughly confused on how to use the palette. And actually Mothership 4 is what really made me fall in love with the Pat McGrath experience. So like I said, this is my very first palette, but I was confused on the textures and the formulas, and I did not really know how to use it. And if you don't really know how to use or deal with Pat McGrath's different types of formulas in the palette, you'll be very confused and feel like, this is not worth the money, or what did I even get myself into? What is all the hype about? So fun fact, out of my 18 Pat McGrath palettes, I will try to link that video up above and down below in the description box where I rank all of my Pat McGrath palettes. This came in at number 7. I adore this color scheme. In this palette, you have so many beautiful colors. You know, you have the shade Night Creature, we have this Black Metal, and we have Blitz Amethyst, which is so gorgeous. And then we cannot forget about the lovely shade Gigabyte. Now, this shade right here, which is Astral Ghost Orchid, it's not my favorite shade at all really in the palette, and I could deal without that. And the fact that it shows up in Mothership 2, I'm just like, eh. So let's go ahead and do a couple swatches so we can refamiliarize ourselves with the colors and the tones and the textures in this palette. And then we'll go ahead and jump into some looks. So first up, we have Skin Show Fever. You have Night Creature. And Deep Shade. Gigabyte, which is the most beautiful shade. Then we have VR Pink, which is very pretty also. And you see some of the black flipping off of my finger. And then we have Extreme Black. We have Lazarus. It's a beautiful metallic brown shade. Black Metal. Blitz Amethyst. This shade I live for. And last but not least, my favorite shade in the palette, I kid, Astral Ghost Orchid. And these are the swatches. So let's go ahead and jump into some looks. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Eyebrows filled in Goof Proof pencil, 3.75, along with my Too Faced Multisculpting concealer as an eyeshadow primer in the shade Butterscotch. So I really want to go ahead and play with the shade Night Creature right here. And this was one of the shades I thought it was so pretty when I first got the palette, but I was so thoroughly confused on how to use the shade. And I was just like, maybe this palette's a fail, but I'm gonna keep it to myself because maybe I just don't know what the heck I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in with my number 16 Wayne Goss brush with the shade Deep Shade. That is that brown shade, and we're just going to start blending it out in the crease. And luckily with these tones, it is a pretty deep palette, you know, so we're going to blend this out. So far it's blending out very lovely, and I started off with a very light hand because, you know, this color can go really deep, and I don't want my look to be super deep just yet. At least, I don't know, we'll see when we get there. But just gonna give us a little wash of color. I rather start off a little slowly, then build it up. I'm just blending that out, blending. You know what, Pat's Matte, sometimes it is best to kind of set your primer, but I don't usually like to set my primer, so I'm just gonna blend this out across the crease. I'm gonna go back in with just a little bit more, and then I'm gonna kind of drag it down into that outer V, and I tend to miss shadow right there, so I'm just gonna make sure I have all my little skin folds covered. All right, so that is just a nice wash of color. It's blended out great. Using that same brush, I'm just going to dip in with a tiny bit of Xtreme Black, and we're going to place this right down here. And I'm just kind of picking it up, and now I'm just moving the product in, and I'm just kind of keeping it tight. And again, I'm just going to blend it out. This shade can be very dark, but you can kind of manipulate it. See, that's good. Just picking up a little bit more. And like, cause her mattes are very pigmented, but sometimes they do take just a tiny bit of effort to blend out if they get stuck on your primer. And apparently I need some more shadow right there as I look into the monitor. I know I'm using a big brush, but I'm being lazy. There we go. I'm gonna jump in with this Rephr number 16 brush, pick up a little bit more of that color Deep Shade, which was that first brown shade, and I'm just gonna kind of blend the two together. And I'm just slowly adding a little bit more brown. Now with a Rephr P21, I'm gonna go in with the shade Night Creature. I'm just gonna get a good amount on the brush, there we go. And I'm going to press in and then drag the shade across. And this shade tends to have a little bit of pigment behind it, but it is not super pigmented. It is more like a topper or a more glittery formula. So I am going to go ahead and wet it. I'm going to wet it with some Maybelline setting spray. You can just take any type of setting spray you have. And it's a super pretty shade. But it's like I said, it's like one of those things you have to understand it, because it looks, it's super pigmented, but then it does not have a lot of base pigment to it. It's more of a glitter formulation. I also find that if I wet her more crystalline or metallic formulas, I could prevent a lot of fallout. Just picking up a little bit more because I want it to be more saturated. And I did just go back and re-wet the brush, and I'm just going to pack it on in sections. And that way we get a more opaque look. And I'm going to leave it a little bit more sheer towards the top of the crease. But I want it to be very pigmented on like my mobile lash line. And that is just, it's beautiful in a very quick smoky eye. Sonia G pencil brush, going in with the Skin Show Fever. Just gonna put a little dot right there. Gives a little inner corner highlight. And the nice thing about the Skin Show Fever shades, it just kind of takes on a life of its own depending on what shadows you put next to it. And then what I think I will do is I will take a little bit with that pencil brush and I will kind of highlight the top of my brow bone. I'm not putting too much, but I'm just putting it so it's a nice little sheen right there. And that is look number one. We're going to jump over to the next eye. Eyelid is primed and ready to go. Once again, using my Too Faced Multisculpting Concealer in the shade Butterscotch. Starting off with that Rephr number 16. Jumping in again with Deep Shade. And we're just going to run this across the crease. Starting off a little lighter, like before. Just so that it is not so deep. And I'm just kind of keeping this right in my crease socket. And I'm just blending this back and forth. And I'm kind of feathering it up. But I want most of the pigment to be right in this area. And I'm going to go back in with a little bit more. Same brush, going in with Lazarus. That is that deep brown shade, that satin brown shade. And I'm just going to work it down lower in the crease. There we go. That is a beautiful chocolate satin shade. I don't think I ever realized how pretty this shade is. And I'm just blending it across and letting it meet with the other shade called Deep Shade. So we're all the way into the crease right here on the inner and kind of winging it out on the outer. Sonia G Builder Pro, we're going to pick up the shade Xtreme Black and I'm going to start placing this down towards the, start placing it right here on the outer, and then I'm going to put it on the inner corner too, and I'm just pressing it in. Now this black, I would say it's a good black, but I wouldn't say it's her best black. I actually like the black that she has in Dark Star, which is a 6-pan palette, a little bit better, and it's more satin, and I don't think this one could be just a tiny bit patchy if you don't put it down just right. It's very bold once you get it layered up, and it doesn't require a lot of layering, but I think you just have to be careful if you move your brush too much. And kind of a halo situation we're doing here, and I'm just going to kind of make sure it gets feathered up into the crease. But I don't want to cover up that beautiful satin brown shade we have, and I'm going to make sure it is dark along the lash line. Going in with the Rephr P21, I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Black Metal. That is our black glitter shade right here. And I'm going to go ahead and wet the brush just a little bit, and we're going to pop that in the center of the lid. So now we have a beautiful, like, gunmetal-y smoky eye. And I'm just kind of feathering this out across the lash. Make sure it's dark along your lash line so you don't see any gaps. And like I said, this is like a halo, but it's not necessarily a halo. And I'm just going in with some more product, and I'm going to wet it just a little bit more. That is very pretty. Look at it with that shine. And I need to make sure I have product down here. I can see some gaps. With that same brush, I'm going to go in with a tiny bit of Night Creature, which is the same purple we had on this eye. I'm just going to go in with a little bit. So I'm going to kind of just pat my brush off, make sure I don't. And I'm just going to tap a little in there just to get a little extra glisten. I'm gonna pick up just a little bit more. So now we have a purple and black sparkly eye. I think that looks really, really pretty. That just added a little touch. Sonia G pencil brush, going in with my not so favorite shade, the Astro Ghost Orchid. I'm going to, let's see, we're gonna put that in the little inner corner highlight. And it's just a little lackluster to me, but I'm gonna try to make it work. With this smoky eye, I like it. Going back in with that Rephr number 16 brush, I'm going to pick up a little bit more of the shade Lazarus, which was that caramel satin shade. I'm sorry, that deep chocolate satin shade. Just blend it out here. And boom, that is, ooh. I'm here for both of these looks. Okay, let me go ahead and put on some face makeup, hit some liner, lashes, we'll be back. All right. Lashes are on, added some Kiss Ritzy lashes. They're probably on their last leg. So I put on lower mascara like full, but we're gonna do a little lower lash line work real quick. Picking up my Sonia G, this is the pencil brush. I'm gonna go in with this black metal and we're gonna run it on here. And I'm just doing a little light wash of color. I don't want anything too heavy, but just to give a little smokiness underneath the eye and a little shimmer. And that just really added a little something. And I'm going to do the same shade underneath this eye. Because sometimes I don't like my eyes, I don't like to do a whole lot of under shadow. My eyes are a little small in shape, even though I have a pretty generous lid space, but I don't want to go too far in. Now, same brush, jumping in with the shade Night Creature, which is that purple. And because we have some purple here, I'm just gonna mix a little purple in right here. So now we have a little sparkly situation. So let's pull out so you can see the final looks. All right, I'm back, and here are the final two looks. So I have two very pretty sparkly smoky eyes. One is a little bit lighter. We have that purple, that is the Night Creature, and then we have what is this called, black metal right here. And I think that both of them are really, really pretty. So it just kind of depends on what vibe you're looking for. But overall I feel like this is kind of like a very dark palette with a lot of pops of color. So these are the two looks, and I will link the rest of my makeup details down below. But let's go ahead and jump into two more looks. Eyelids. My eyelids are reprimed using my Too Faced Born This Way concealer, shade Butterscotch. Once again, going in, way number 16 brush, taking the shade Deep Shade, and we're going to run that in the crease, kind of like what we've been doing for most of our looks. That's the only downside I would say about this palette. You don't have a lot of matte shades or other type of satin shades other than brown to kind of set up your looks. But once you add on the shimmery shades, you have so many different pretty shades to work with. I'm just blending this back and forth into the crease. Okay, if I keep looking over to the window, I'm like trying to figure out what's going on outside. It is super windy. Guess it's that time of the year when the wind just starts really kicking. And I'm just making sure it's smooth right here. And I'm just picking up more. I'm kind of just working in sections to make sure that everything is blended out really well. Not to mention mattes can, like I said, sometimes they can get stuck on the primer. But they're so smooth, so pretty. But if I work in sections, I find that, you know, they're not as difficult to blend out sometimes on type of a wet primer. Sonia G Worker Pro brush. I'm going to go in with the shade Lazarus, which is that smooth satin chocolatey brown shade. And I'm just going to pat it on the outer corner of my eyelid. and just blend it lightly up into the crease. My Sonia G Builder Pro, I'm going to go ahead and take up the shade Skin Shell Fever, and I'm going to press this into the area that's open. My Rephr P21, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to, like, you know, use the Astro Ghost Luna. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up some right here. And I'm going to go ahead and spritz my brush using a Maybelline setting spray. And I'm just going to place some on top. I'm going to start with the back of the mobile lid and then kind of work my way to the front, just to give a little extra dimension to the look. I'm just going to pick up a little bit more. Brush is still a little damp. And when you lose it like this, it's actually not too bad of a color. Like I said, it's just not my favorite shade, so, but, you know, I'm trying to work with it. But like this, I actually like it. And this is a very beautiful, subtle, smoky eye. And pretty neutral at the same time. With the Sonia G pencil brush going in with deep shade, I'm going to drag some of this down on the lower lash line. And then taking a little bit of Extreme Black, dabbing off my brush just a little bit, I'm going to run some right there along that lash line. Just to give it a little dimension. And I just wanted to showcase like a neutral look you can get with the palette. Neutral, but a little smoky at the same time. The eyelid is primed and ready to go using that same concealer, Rephr number 16. Once again, going in with the shade Lazarus, and we're going to buff. Now, this is more of the satin shade, and we're going to buff this in the crease. And this got dark really quickly, but it's cool. I'm here for it. And I did wipe off this brush before going in. But look, that's the beauty of pat satin shades. Even though they can come off as like something you can put on your lid, they blend out so nicely in the crease. Going in with my Rephr P21 brush again. I'm sorry, I forgot to usually tell you why I like to use this brush. This is kind of like more of like a concealer type brush, even though this is an eyeshadow brush, but it picks up very gritty shades and blitz shades that Pat McGrath makes. Very, very easy. Any type of glittery, metallic, or just really kind of chunky metallic, this is the type of brush you want to use. In with the shade Blitz Amethyst right here, and I picked up quite a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and spritz my brush so that way most of the product will lay down and we don't get a lot of fallout. And I'm going to start packing this right here on the back of the eye. Now, what's really nice about the Blitz shades is that they have quite a bit of pigment as the base color, but they provide like a shine like no other. And I'm just picking up more of the shade and laying it down. Now this shade does have a duochrome, so sometimes you cannot see, it doesn't look very pigmented at the beginning or like a lot of blue coming through because you see that purple pink shift, but it is there. In that P21 brush off, I'm going to go in with the shade, this is VR Pink, and that is the shade at the end right here. And I'm going to go ahead and wet this also so we don't get a lot of fallout. And I'm just going to pack this onto the inner part of my eyelid and let it meet with the Blitz Amethyst. And I'm just going to kind of layer the two colors over it. So it's going to be like a little dance party on the lids. Pink slash gold shift into a blue slash pink purple shift. Really, really pretty. So we definitely got two different vibes here going on the eye. Going back, same P21, I'm going to pick up a little bit more of Blitz Amethyst. And see, this is what I'm talking about, these type of brushes. Look how much product it picks up. So like a flat concealer brush would do the job also with these two brushes. So pretty. And I'm just adding on to my liking. Those duochromes play with each other so nicely. Now I'm gonna go ahead and clean up my under eye some liner, and I'll be right back. So here are the next two looks, and I want to say they came out really, really pretty, and they're very different but pretty in their own right. So I wanted to showcase the neutral capabilities of this palette, and I think I really, really hit it on the head. So you have all these nice brown smoky tones in here, plus the Skin Show Fever, which is just a great lid shade, so you don't have to think about it. It's just a brow bone highlight. It can be used in so many different ways, and dare I say, I really like the Astro Ghost Orchid over that Skin Show Fever. It really just brought a nice warm peachiness to the look, and I appreciate it because it has those flecks of pink in it, and coupled with that brown shade that has the satin, which is Lazarus, and then blown out in the crease we have the shade Deep Shade. So it is super neutral. You can definitely wear this look out and about, or maybe daytime with not so much of a standout lash. But I think it came out really pretty. With this particular eye look, I went ahead and switched it up. I put on the Blk Coffee Extreme Gel Liner, or the Permagel Liner by McGrath. So this is Blk Coffee. And then with this eye, I put on Blitz Blue, which is the same Permagel Liner by McGrath. And this one is just so pretty because this is color. But if you're not a person that's just like into super standout color, like I feel like this works. You have pink and then it transitions to some blue, and it just depends on how you look, and the light just catches it differently each time. But I think it is just so really pretty. So pretty, excuse me, and I just really love how the color combinations came out. And then setting it up with the shade Lazarus just gave us a little definition into our crease. It's a little deep, but it's not super deep, and you were able to sheer it out where it doesn't literally take away from the lightness and the airiness of the shadows right here. So let's go ahead and jump in to our last final look, and I'll be right back. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the last look. Eyelids are reprimed using my Too Faced concealer in the shade Butterscotch. That is the multi-purpose sculpting concealer. And we're going to go back in with that Rephr number 16 brush. I'm just going to wipe it off real good again. And I'm going to go in with the shade Lazarus, which was this shade right here. And I'm just going to blend this out in the crease. And I would say that this shade takes on a little bit more smokier effect when it's blended out versus just packed on, or versus just using the shade Deep Shade. Right, so you already know Gigabyte is going to be the start of the show for the last look, but I'm going to jump in with my Rephr, I'm going to jump in going with my Sonia G Worker Pro, and I'm going to dip in with a little bit of Extreme Black. And I'm just going to ever so gently pat this to meet the crease. And I'm just going to make sure I have enough product up in that crease so when I lift my brow, it doesn't look like the shadow is patchy. I'm just going to feather it out. Going in with the Rephr P21, I'm going to pick up the shade Gigabyte, which is that beautiful chartreuse green. And I am going to go ahead and wet it because it is such a glittery formulation. I don't want to have fallout everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and give it a spritz with some setting spray. And then we're going to work this all over the lid. I mean, come on. Can you even? So intense and so pretty. Look at that. And even though I spritzed the brush, I do still have a little bit of fallout. This color is literally beautiful. It was one of the main reasons I got this palette, like, to be honest. So we have Gigabyte all over the lid and it looks so good. So you can really stop here, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and try something. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of Night Creature with that P21 brush because I feel like these type of greens look so good with purple. And I'm just going to rub it right here onto the lid. And it might make a difference and it might not. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wet the brush just a little bit. That way when you turn, you get a little extra surprise. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. But oh my God, Gigabyte is like just the best color ever. All right, I'm gonna throw on some lashes and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back and this is the 5th and final look. I hope you guys love it. It is using the shade Gigabyte, of course, all over the lids with a little hint of Night Creature. I mean, this shade right here makes the palette just it is so good. Like, never have I met a chartreuse that look like this. And look at all the glitter, and it's just the light hits it and it's just like a little dance party on your eyes, and I'm so here for it. So overall, I hope you guys enjoyed all of the looks that I presented to you today. I think they were very wearable, a lot of color, a lot of fun ways to kind of incorporate all the shades together, and maybe some options that you hadn't thought about with this palette. So I'm so glad I got a chance to really sit down and play with this palette. I have in between, but this is the first time I've like really just dug into this palette. But I really do enjoy it, and I'm going to pull it out more. So, you know, maybe I'll wear this look the first time, you know, outside is open, because, you know, outside ain't open right now. You know, when they open up outside, what look are you gonna wear? Let me know down in the comments of this. Let me know which looks you enjoy. I think the palette is really gorgeous, like I just said before. I do think, however, with this palette, you have to kind of set up your looks the same, but if you play around with your shimmer shades, you do come up with totally different looks. Unlike some of the other Mothership palettes, like maybe, you know, Mothership 2, there are a lot of different matte options, a lot of different satin options, so you can kind of set up your framework of your crease a little bit different. This one, you just really have the black, Lazarus, or deep shade. That's all you really have. Everything else is a shimmer shade, but the shimmer selections are great. So no matter what you kind of go in with, you're going to get a different look each time. So I do really enjoy that about the palette, but I feel like sometimes you can get a very dark smoky look with the palette. Although if you just kind of go in with a lighter blending hand, it won't appear to seem that dark. But overall, I'm really digging all the looks. Just let me know down below. Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And last but not least, you already know what time it is. It's time for the chair dance. Chair dance. Chair dance. Chair dance. All right, y'all. See you later. Stay safe, please. Bye.